Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here on the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. Chris Halicke here. Final Chalk Talk of the week. Going to look at Calvin Austin, and now we've already taken a look here kind of recently at the art of route running and how, and we used an example of Austin in that, and I'm going to use honestly the same play in this one too, but for a different purpose. And obviously, with George Pickens being traded, the conversation now begins to, okay, who's going to be WR2 again? Who's going to be that second outside receiver that can help stretch the defense, that can not just be a deep threat, but also do some things in the intermediate game and the quick game. And I do think that not only should the Steelers look for somebody else to fill that role, somebody on the outside, I believe they will do that. However, I don't think that Calvin Austin should be completely disregarded as a legitimate weapon in this offense. Is he a dangerous weapon? Can be in certain plays, but he has really grown as a receiver, and I think he's earned that role of being a weapon. WR2, that's you can debate it because he can play both in the slot and on the outside. And a couple of the reasons that I'm going to kind of give you for why he at least deserves a somewhat heightened role. Not pitching here that he should be the WR2 no matter what. But let's take a closer look at some of the things that he did well last year. So this is that play against the Giants. And for those who might remember from a couple weeks ago, Giants are in a cover 3 here, or if they are in cover 1, that is, it looks like cover 1 actually, because that guy's far off. And then you get this guy right here is going to be covering Austin, who's lined up there on the inside, the number 2 at the bottom. And Austin obviously gets past him pretty quick, makes a catch for a touchdown. The thing that really makes this great is that you can see, especially from this angle, the outside leverage that the corner has on Austin. Austin is the number 2 right here. He's almost lined up against the hashes. He is obviously off of that, so he is outside of Calvin, and Calvin has to run a corner route here. And when you are trying to get to the outside of a guy who has outside leverage, you have to figure out a way to do that. And if you watch, it's a subtle little step there. You got to do something to get the cornerback to be in this position. To get him to, the only way to get outside of him with any kind of success is to get him to flip his hips inside. And the moment that he's able to do this, he really, really makes it even more pronounced by doing this little step right there. And even though the corner seems to recover, you can see right here, he gets flipped back around really quick. Calvin's speed is just too much to deal with, and you could just see him blow right past him. That's where the speed comes into play. And, obviously there's plenty of separation. It's a good throw from Russ. And there you go. Again, the art of knowing how to manipulate the defender, how to turn his hips against himself, and how to attack leverage so that you can then gain the leverage. It's good stuff from Cal. This was against the Eagles, a flea flicker. You see here, Calvin starts off down here. He's the number 1 on the bottom, and he is pretty much running a full-blown, just deep crosser right here. And I like what he does here. That little, it's almost selling like it's going to be a run, because how often does a receiver who's going out for a pass stop and kind of get into this little stance right there, especially after the running back already has the ball in his hand? You're telling everybody right here that you're trying to block or something, and that helps get this linebacker, this defensive back to all bite on this, and then he can just take off, which is what he does. He finds the open grass. I love the way this is opening up, and again, this is why you want, somebody running this hard so that you can help clear that out. Calvin does that. Russ makes the throw. And the great thing about this is that not only does Calvin make the play, and I have the other angle so you can see. Again, it's this posture right there. You will constantly hear coaches talk about details. If Calvin doesn't try to somewhat sell this as a block, there's no reason for the linebacker, for the defensive back to possibly even bite on this. If he just, he knows, crap, I've got to get all the way over there, I'm running far down the field, he might just try to take off and get there, but he knows that I have to try to sell this. It's the details. Getting into this posture right here, that is telling the safety, yeah, he's definitely coming to block. This is not some sort of play action. And then he sidesteps him, whoop, and then he's able to turn on the jets. And this is where, again, talk about details. This right here is that's not an open window. That's not an open pass. That is a very, very tight window. That is the quarterback putting full trust in the receiver's hands. And Calvin Austin is not a big guy. He's 5'9". He's a little bitty. You're not going to use, size or height or vertical to beat even a linebacker. How do you do it? Well, there are different things you can do. One of them is called late hands, where you get your hands up to make the catch at the absolute last millisecond you possibly can, so that you can then give the defender less time to react. Because as soon as you start putting your hands up, the defender is going to know that the ball is coming. And so you can kind of see here, the hands are starting to kind of go out there. And you can see the reaction from the watch the defender's head. Watch the defender's head. As soon as Calvin starts to put his hands out, that's when the defender starts to turn his head. Well, guess what? The ball's already there. And there's not enough time. I mean, dude, that is not open. The only way you're able to possibly do that is to put your hands out at the right time, so that the defender is literally caught in between of, okay, the ball's coming, I'm going to turn around and try to locate it. Oh, the ball's already there. And then he makes a great catch without really seeing where the ball is. That's a great job. It's those little details. That's the kind of stuff that Calvin's doing to make himself a better wide receiver. This play right here, Calvin's just running a straight up go route down the sideline. I love this little step. That little step. Again, you're running. He is totally postured to not to try to possibly cover that inside. And as soon as you get this guy to flip his hips, step, foot in the ground, go to the outside. And again, he can just use his speed to run past him. It's knowing when it's that little detail. I actually just now noticed this for the first time. I didn't see it whenever I put the video together. As soon as he flips his hips, the moment, flipping, boom, foot in the ground, going. In real time, it's the fastest reaction. And in slow motion, it's flipping, boom. And then he just goes down. And then it's kind of hard to tell all the way from this angle, and he's definitely more open here. This is still not an easy catch. And he makes it along the sideline. Again, he's a little guy. It's not easy to beat guys downfield when you're little. Not unless you completely blow past them. His speed is definitely a weapon, because he can... As soon as a guy knows, it's the art of route running. He makes himself a better route runner. He can then use that speed to, when he puts his foot in the ground right here, the defender is 2 yards ahead of him. And he's able to catch up to him about there. So in the span of about, 25, in the span of about 7 to 8 yards, he's already even with them. And then a span of 10 yards, he's ahead of him. That's where the speed comes into play. And does he get there if he just immediately just runs that line straight to the outside, running along the red line? Remember, that was a big topic of debate whenever Mike Williams came here. There's this red line that's on practice fields. It's a little closer to the sideline than that, but it's this red line where receivers need to run their go routes along this line so that when the quarterback is looking to throw this, they have some sort of space to be able to place this ball, whether they want to put it there, whether they want to throw it to an outside shoulder and put it closer to the sideline. It's the little details. He could just run along that red line, but he's like, no, I'm going to get this guy to bite inside, even just a little bit, so that I can use my speed to blow past him, which is exactly what he does. Great catch. Great route. He grew as a route runner. He refined his details, both in every single way when it came to selling a block or late hands when you're catching the ball downfield. He has made himself into a very, very good number 3 receiver. I think he'd be a really solid number 3 on just about any team in the league. If you need him to, he can be a number 2. I believe that. I think he's grown to that level. And shoot, man, who says that last year was the best he's ever going to be? What if he takes another step forward? Do the Steelers need to count on that? No, probably not. And it would behoove them to still add somebody. But I think Calvin's really grown into and the fact that he lost his entire rookie year and still grown the way he has, I think that's a testament to the work that he's put into it. So, again, is he a legitimate WR2? No, but can he absolutely have a role in this offense? 100%, yes, he can, and he has shown that he can do this. I mean, he's running this stuff lining up on the outside. I mean, he's not operating out of the slot there. So they got themselves a weapon in Austin, man. They do. All right, wrap this up. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Make sure you're checking out all of our rookie minicamp coverage throughout the weekend. We're going to be there obviously today and then tomorrow as well, Saturday. They keep going on Sunday. Media is not, there's no media availability on Sunday, so we're not going to be there. But then we'll be back Monday with another Chalk Talk and schedule release next week as well. Won't talk about that on here, but follow us on DKPittsburghSports.com for everything Steelers when it comes to news, analysis, everything. So appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Catch you on the flippity flip. We'll see you later.